Hello, my name is Bill. I'm showing you, just happens that happens to be Neil deGrasse Tyson and his buddy Chuck, who two are the dumbest human beings on the planet Earth. How curious that just happened. What I'm going to do here is show you what should be the initial point. This is Idaho. This is Township 1 North. This is Township 1 South. This is Range 1 West, Range 1 East. This is for the township and range system. These are sections. This would be section 1, zigzag. This would be 6. This would be 31. There should be 36 sections within each township and range. This is the initial point for the state of Nevada. Okay, I've done videos on how the public land survey system was supposed to create this. It's just a tier system, just like longitude and latitude. You go 1 north, 6 miles, 36 sections in between, 2 north, 3 north, 1 south, 2 south, 1 east, 2 east, 1 west, 2 west. This was to create a township and range system with the assessor's office who creates maps, okay? This is done correctly. I'm going to put this here because they're the same types of TV. Now I'm going to show you this. This happens to be Neil deGrasse Tyson and his dumbass buddy Chuck, who think we went to the moon and we're never going ever. Okay. This is the Great Salt Lake. This is latitude and longitude. This is done incorrectly. I'm going to show you also Mount Diablo, which is done correctly. This is what the gods do. They trick people. This is evidence for the gods. Okay, I'm finding this evidence. I don't believe human beings lived on this earth before land ownership. It'd be too chaotic. It'd be chaotic to create land ownership because you're going to have to create your township and ranges. And no surveyor is going to use latitude and longitude in a legal description. They use township and ranges. That means what this says here, Brigham Young never existed. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to put this one away. I'm going to just turn this TV off. Now I'm going to show you, this would be the Willamette. I'm going to move this over a little bit. I've showed you the Willamette. That's in Oregon. And it's for Oregon and Washington. It's on the ground just like Salt Lake. Now I'm going to show you, this is Arizona. This is above ground. This is above a racetrack. This is the Idaho where I just showed you. So these are all correct. Salt Lake is incorrect. And so is Mount Diablo. I'm going to have to fast forward this to show you the monument. Same thing. They used 121 degrees, 37 degrees. These are longitude and latitude. So these monuments in Utah and California are done incorrectly. No human being would do this on purpose. This is what the gods do, okay? Now I've done a video on longitude and latitude. They're basically horizontal lines. Here's my map. I want people to know there are 4 prime meridians. There are 4 equators. You break it down into quarters. Here's 1 prime meridian and 1 equator. You do the same thing for this prime meridian north and this equator east. And then you create another prime meridian here on the southwest quarter, another equator here, another prime meridian south, another equator south. I've explained to you how these lines work. They went over 15 lines. These are just your horizontal and your vertical lines. The minutes and seconds are multiplied, so you have 3,600 lines in between each one line, which is called a degree. They're not really degrees, they're just lines. This is what the gods do. Now I'm going to show you, okay, the International Time Zone created time zones and also the prime meridian. That was done in 1884. We human beings did not do this. If you see videos or pictures or anything, the gods created everything. They created all our history. We don't need time zones, but they created them and we have to go by them. But it's just like these monuments. We can correct them. We can make the corrections if our governments would want to do that. I'm going to show you this because I have sent the Nevada legislature all these mistakes that I'm finding, starting with the public land survey. That public land survey system created states. With a base and meridian, you can only go far as your state. So that automatically creates the state. It wasn't the General Land Office. It wasn't the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management. It's the gods. They created all this information. I have the California Constitution and the Nevada Constitution. California's 1850. They used longitude and latitude. And it was 1850s before they even created the prime meridian of Greenwich. And then Nevada in 1864, they also used longitude and latitude, but they used the Washington, D.C. latitude. Instead of going to Greenwich, once again, it wasn't even created back then, but supposedly Thomas Jefferson, who created the public land survey system, he wanted the prime meridian to be in Washington, D.C. It never happened, but there's monuments in Washington, D.C. that shows that he wanted that. All this information is incorrect. In the meantime, all these counties were created within Nevada. Carson City was Ormsby County. There's Douglas County, there's Washoe County, which was a part of Lake County and Root County. They all came together. These descriptions, I have copies of all the descriptions and the maps and so on. Some of these descriptions are just horrific. And so I'm going to show you this. Okay, this is all of Washoe County. Carson City used to be Ormsby County. It's just Carson City. It's not Carson City County. This is Lake Tahoe right here. It goes all the way up to Oregon. This is the California border. There have been surveys done on California and Nevada with longitude and latitude, and it's incorrect. It should be, this would be Township 17 East for California, Township 18 East for Nevada. They should be using township and ranges. All these maps you see with longitude and latitude, I can show you maps with township and ranges. They do both. That's what the gods do. They do both. And I'm finding this out. And when they did the description for Washoe County, I was a title officer for Washoe County. I was a title officer for Lake Tahoe Incline Village. When they created this legal description, they started at the northwest corner of Ormsby County, and then they went, this is Washoe Lake right here, they went to the mountains east of Washoe Lake. That's not how they're supposed to do it. And eventually they did township and ranges, but they went from here directly up to this corner. They missed all these calls, and then they did township and ranges and sections all the way around. So they did it correctly. I'm also going to show you I'm going to have to get rid of that little blue. Okay, perfect. This is all the northern part of Lake Tahoe. As you can see, this is Washoe County. The little zigzags that goes up and around the township and ranges. So, California goes through Lake Tahoe. Nevada goes through Lake Tahoe. I showed you Utah State. Utah used to be a territory. They went all the way to the California border. So Utah used to actually own a portion of Lake Tahoe. Now this is Carson City below Washoe County. Okay, and a little bit below that is Douglas County. This is Placer County. This is El Dorado County. So there's 2 states in Lake Tahoe. There's 3 counties in Nevada and 2 counties in California, and they're all in Lake Tahoe. And that's all done incorrectly. And that's just the way things have been going on. And I know the legislature isn't going to get back to me because our government is fake, our media is fake. They're not going to get back to me. This is actually created in 1861 originally. Amended, the last amendment was 2005. This is your township and range all the way through. They skipped a part of it right here. And this is the other second page. And right towards the end, they went northerly along the range line of the 40th degree of north latitude. After they've been using the township and range all this time. But this is the way the gods do things. Okay? I don't like these gods. I don't like life. I'm just giving you information. I don't make up stories. Since I have you here, and I've already put down Neil deGrasse Tyson in the past, I'm going to show you there's no hydrogen and oxygen in water.
First thing we have to do, of course, is to get some hydrogen and oxygen into this bottle. And we're going to fill the bottle with water. It's called collecting the gas by water displacement.
Bullshit, bullshit,
right
bullshit.
To the top. And
she's going to dump it out.
Invert it into our bucket of water so that there's very little air in there. Like that. And Stella, you're going to pick that up for me. And we have 2 containers of gas, 1 hydrogen,
oh no,
and oxygen.
they're going to put gas in the bottle. Oh no, I wonder what's going to happen.
And because we're going to make water, just a tiny, tiny bit of water out of the gases that we're putting into the bottle, we want twice as much hydrogen, H2O, as we want oxygen.
Nope,
so
not in any
you have
water.
to hold that up. Amanda, you might want to get closer so that you can see it bubble inside.
What she's doing is letting the water out of the bottle.
This is where it would say that you would need all of this. And when it's about 2/3 full, we're going to now put in some oxygen gas.
Now it's 2/3 empty of water. And now we're going to empty the rest of the water.
That's where I want to go.
Oh, there goes all the water.
Bubble out, we know it's got enough in it. These 2 gases are lighter than air, so when I pick it up, we can assume the gases aren't going to fall out right away and hold on to that.
Basically, what you gotta do is you gotta light the match. Someone has to hold this, I guess.
Yes.
Light the match, and light the wood splint,
Right.
and then
Amanda's, you're going to take the cover off.
yeah, not yet. Wait till it's lit. Yeah.
And it makes a really loud noise, Amanda.
Yeah. Yeah.
No water in there. If there's water in there, we'd have put the match out. That's what science does to human brains. And I'll show you this guy. He's just as dumb as Neil deGrasse Tyson and Chucky.
Cavendish's main aim in life was to weigh.
He's going to show you the same basic type of experiment.
Acid onto the zinc. I'm going to bubble the gas that's produced into this soap solution. So these bubbles are now going to be filled with this gas. And very quickly and carefully, I'm going to light the gas.
Gas.
Cavendish
Gas.
called that not inappropriately, I suppose, inflammable air. It's the gas that we now know as hydrogen.
But Cavendish didn't stop there. He doggedly continued his quest to quantify hydrogen until he could describe every aspect of its existence.
So he wanted to see how his newly discovered gas, hydrogen as we now call it, reacted with other things, including air. So I'm going to repeat Cavendish's experiment again, but this time with a vessel. What I'm going to do is fill it with hydrogen. So that's full of inflammable air, and I'm going to light the spark. Now, what you saw there was a chemical reaction, the reaction of hydrogen with air. And if you look closely on the sides of the flask, you'll see that it's wet.
Condensation. And he used electricity to light the gas. This is what fake scientists do. They're stupid. It's pathetic that the gods allow this stuff. Okay, now, I'm also part of my job in the title business was to run out legal descriptions with the protractor. Okay? We used meets and bounds descriptions. This is a legal document. I created the map, the parcel. Starts at a quarter section, comes down to the point of beginning, then goes northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest. They give us dimensions. They give us the degrees of the angle. They use 90-degree angles. They use northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. 90, there's 360 degrees in a circle, 90 degrees. Both north and south are 0. And then east 90 or west 90. So you just line up your protractor and you can describe the property. This is Incline Village. This is Lake Tahoe. This is an assessor's parcel map. It's the same map that I created, running out the legal description on this document. In legal descriptions, surveyors use fractions of a degree. They use minutes and seconds. Minutes and seconds were meant for longitude and latitude because there's no real dimension. It's about 70 miles between some of these longitudes and latitudes. So you multiply that by a mile, divide it by 3,600, you can probably get about 100 feet in between each line. But there's no reason to use minutes and seconds because it's just a fraction of a degree. We're already using 90 degrees. We should just use one degree because the fraction, I think 1 degree is about 1/16 of an inch. That's 1 degree. So if you're going to divide it, this happens to have 1 degree, a half a degree in between 1 degree. So you're talking about 1/32 of a degree. You can use decimal points, you can use fractions. They already use decimal points on their distances, so why they use minutes and seconds is because this is what the gods did to the surveyors. They should not be using, you can put 3,600 lines between 1 degree, you're not going to do that, but that's what a surveyor can do. And you're not going to change my boundary description if you go from 1 degree to 1/2 a degree. So this is what I'm trying to get people to understand. These gods control the weather. They can make it rain as much as they want. They can flood us. They can make winds as high as they want. These gods are in control, but they're letting our government and our media and our actors and our entertainers and our athletes who are faking every sport that's ever been created, everything you see on TV, unless it's YouTube, unless it's someone like me who's honest, it's all fake. It's all fake what you see on TV. Now, I have all kinds of documentation that I'm really ready to go have a debate with somebody, but all the debates you see on TV, like somebody debated an astronaut. I think the person that was debating the astronaut was an actor. He looks like Paul Giamatti, and he was debating a fake scientist. We're going back to the moon. We've never been to the moon. The other day, the moon moved. It was above Australia to the east, and by the time I went back outside 2 hours later and sat on the porch, it was directly lined up. It had gone west for about 2 hours, right directly lined up with my back door. And the moon has been doing all kinds of things. I reported it to 3 stations January last year that the moon disappeared. It came back, but it's been doing all kinds of things. It goes different directions. It was on April Fool. It shouldn't even be. It should be over to the west. It was right back over here in the east. So the gods are in control of the moon. I hope people understand that. The gods are someday, I hope, I don't care what happens to me when I die, but I hope while I'm still alive, I hope the gods start punishing these people for lying to our children. This has been a very long video, But I hope it's been informative, and I thank you for the time.